All right, we are back again, and I'm gonna start this off with a funny racism story. As funny as
Oh,
racism can get.
I thought you were going to say a racist joke.
No, no, this is funny. It involves my son, right? This is gonna get great.
Oh, great.
So he,
Racism.
yeah, we're inside a Sam's Club the other day, and surrounded by white folks, doing a good thing, getting groceries and whatnot, and I go, man, I really want a watermelon, and he goes, oh, me too. And then we get to the watermelons and we have a watermelon pick off. We're just two black guys standing around the watermelons, figuring out which one is perfect. And I just had like an out of body experience. Like I'm looking at me and him do this, and I'm just laughing in my head. I'm like, damn, you just did the blackest thing you could figure out that day inadvertently. And his sister just sitting in the cart, like, do. And I'm like, sweetheart, you don't even know what we're doing. But yeah, that was my
I
interaction.
don't.
Baby. Mute you. It's easy. Hmm.
Yep, we the mute the baby alerts.
Yep. Yep. It's not
He
gonna ever be able
Working
to
it.
do anything.
he hates when the car goes from moving to stop, like at a stoplight.
Yeah, that's
He
all
does
babies.
not. He fucking hates it. But he like detects it ahead of time. He's like the antithesis, or no, the not antithesis. He's like
Epitome.
the anti version. No, the anti version of like kids are like warnings for like car crashes. You know how like some cars have the cameras and
Yeah.
like the detection agencies that stop you ahead of time. He gets pissed when the car starts to stop. He's like, "Oh, safety? You want to be safe? You want to not hit other cars? Fuck you,
Oh, he
Dad."
wants to be the opposite of a guardian angel, basically. He's
He wants to be fucking Ricky Bobby.
Jesus Christ. Why do you look so tired, Vic?
Oh, me? Oh,
Yeah.
we were outside. We were outside in the sun today with the family for a cookout and
Oh,
whatnot. And it is later for me than it is for any of y'all.
yeah, it's 8 o'clock.
Who
So
fucking who?
it was beautiful out though. It was like 80, 82 degrees, something like that. The sun was out,
I'm
and
starting to feel like Vic is becoming our third and making this a trio.
oh, well, thanks.
He's available.
I'm wrong.
Oh
No, I mean
God! So is that just
that's
anybody
yeah. So
now?
I'm like the last guy. You're just like, oh, is Vic doing anything?
Actually, you're the first guy. I was like, huh? Yeah, let's just ask Vic. What does he want to do? What is he doing? Would he like to sit down and talk?
Well,
But
that's because Vic seems to give pretty honest opinions, but it's also not like he doesn't have as cold of a heart as I do. So
Jesus Christ.
he gives the opposite of whatever I'm unwilling to give, or what I'm willing to give. He just gives the other.
He seems
So,
like a well-rounded human being. That's
and
what
I
I
don't
want
have,
to say.
Oh,
and
I'm pretty
he,
round right now. Uh,
oh,
that man,
I
I
feel
think all
around.
three of us might be in that category.
I'm a little bit rounder right now. I don't know what's going on. I might be eating a few too many snacks here and there.
I'm like
Um,
a rectangle, but with rounded edges.
I crushed like a box of Walmart donuts the other day, 12 of them in an hour.
oh, sir, what?
Yeah, I had a
I'm
problem.
not.
Yeah.
I'm not that fat.
But I also went in the gym and clean and jerk 355 today, and I was like, I haven't done that in a long time. So, that's a
I mean,
positive.
hey, power output. You gotta fuel the body, pal.
That is true. That's mass moves mass and whatnot.
There you go. You're just gaining mass. That's all. That's all any of us are doing right now. We're just mass gaining.
You don't have a choice. You're going to get some man titties if you're not careful, Steve.
Me? What are you talking about? My pecs are pretty good right now. I've been
uh,
so
How
so
many
I've
shakes you giving those?
you gave him a lot of shakes. It's like A cups. They're not like mine where you like shake them and they go, bloop, bloop. There's no
they
shake.
can't
It's just a
they they can't fit in a bra because they're titties yet.
Steve, you're an A
But
cup.
no, I'm more of a C cup at this point, just because there's an actual pec plus a little bit of titty. So it
Jesus
fills a C.
Christ.
But so after I bought all that gym equipment back in like January, I used it for like 2 or 3 months now.
Uh-huh.
And then like the last 2 months, once Trey started going to daycare, I realized, well, we're trying to move from our apartment on the north side of town to somewhere closer to like base and Jess's work,
Like Upper
because we
East Side?
realized so we're on the
The Jeffersons.
we're on the upper west side right now, and we want to go probably like east to lower east side.
Moving on up to the east side. Moving
So like
on.
pretty much I've come to the parenting point where I realize there's not enough time in the day to get things done.
No shit. I walk, bruh.
What pause?
Wait. I'm gonna say this now. Nigga, really? You haven't listened to me all these months, all these years, where I'm like, I don't have
No,
time, and you're like, what does he mean he doesn't have time? And now you're like, oh, I get it now. He really doesn't have time. Yeah. Most of my
no,
productivity
pause.
is after 7 p.m.
It's because you accept 95 fucking projects when you only have time for 12. And then on the 35th project, you're like, guys, I'm fucking stretched too thin. It's like, really, no fucking shit.
No, that's
Me,
why I'm getting a new job.
I knew that, well, I knew that parenting was going to be busy and all that stuff. But then it's fun when life starts to hit you and you have to find those other ways to get things done. But like, just to drive home alone between picking up Jess and then picking up the baby because Jess couldn't drive after her
That's
surgery
your
like
break.
2 weeks
That's your
ago.
you time.
That, yeah, that's my me time and it's going out the window. So now, for the most part, I am up at 4 o'clock every day just so I can go down to our like little apartment gym, and they have all the dumbbells and benches and like little machine things, and I have to try to hit
World's smallest
something
violin,
in the
Steve.
morning.
World's smallest violin, dog. Yep. Nobody
Hold on,
cares about your
try to.
shitty life. They don't care. Like they're like, oh,
It's not
oh
shitty.
god, oh god, he has no time. He can't do anything. He's an adult.
I'm,
Man.
I'm saying I appreciate now more than ever the morning workouts and like just hitting something. So for the most part, it's either arms, shoulders, chest, or back. Primarily no legs in the
Vic,
morning
watch
because it's
this.
4
Watch
o'clock.
this. Who sends all those memes in that group chat? Steve, right?
Yo.
Wait until Steve gets a civilian job where he has to like do shit. Oh my god,
What are
Steve.
you talking about? I work in the ops department of a brigade
God,
asset at this point.
bro, you don't even understand. You don't even know. Vic,
I
help
do
him.
fucking know.
Shit. You need to go transition to be an officer, and then you'll understand what
Listen,
I'm saying. You'll be
I'm
like,
not.
oh my god, I get it.
Listen here. I'm not gonna take this fucking horse shit from this broken ass retiree that has 100% disability and a
Uh-huh.
common fucking paycheck. And
Common.
then Vic.
Are you disability shaming right now,
He's
Steve? This is some
disability shaming,
bullshit.
and I have an
Yes.
above common paycheck. If
Hey
I get
man,
through this interview,
I came in here. I came in here not looking to do all this.
see, he's like, I just wanted to kind of talk and vibe out. Jesus
What
Christ.
did you think that we were gonna do?
It's like,
Oh,
no.
I'm sure we're gonna talk about all your memes. Give you some shit about that. See if you'd broken down to your parents or in-laws and said, I don't know how you did it with us.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, have his emotional breakdown. He's in his midlife crisis, and he's not even 30 yet.
No, I'm not. So I'm not having a crisis or
damn,
anything. I'm just.
he is the youngest one on this,
He
right?
is the youngest one.
I
Oh
literally was
man.
just. I was literally just acknowledging the fact that like I've gone through the change into fatherhood where it's like you accept the different realities and how they clash together. Not that I ever said that they weren't real, or that I said that Ken was bullshit, or that being a dad didn't fucking take up your time.
So
What I
here's
am
a
saying
question.
is I accept the reality I'm in now, and I
So
enjoy it.
so being that you kind of got to that point now,
Yeah.
what do you think is realistic for you in terms of setting goals for yourself and making time? And
Yeah,
now thinking that like you have this like, hey, I don't have time to do all of these things.
Hmm.
Where do I get the most bang for my buck? Have you thought about what you need to do in order to still hit some of those things or still feel like you're accomplishing those goals?
exactly. That's a good friend
Uh,
right there.
so what I've definitely found is I am more interested in, as it pertains to fitness, I'm willing to push it to the side. And it's basically my fringe part of the day. So it's either early in the morning or it's late in the afternoon. Because for me, especially because Jess had surgery 2 weeks ago, so she hasn't really been able to pick up the baby
She
or
had
do a lot
surgery?
of like, yeah, she had a ruptured ovarian cyst like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, fuck me, man.
Yeah. So She's probably about 85% recovered from it, but she just couldn't pick him up and she couldn't rock him to sleep and stuff. So for us, it was she also couldn't drive. So we've been carpooling. We've been centered like our entire afternoon is around him and just spending time. As soon as we get home, getting him ready for dinner, get him a bath. We both sit and just play with him for a little bit, and he goes to bed. But to answer your question, I think I'm back in school. I just finished my first 2 classes last semester. I'm in 2 more this. Then I'm going to be in another 3 in the fall semester, possibly 4, depending on how I break that down. And I'm looking to finish my degree by next summer so that I can go to OCS in the fall.
Good.
And then it's not terribly cold or terribly hot when I go. That's preferable.
Just accept it how it comes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm learning is to, like I said, accept the reality that I'm in because I wanted to have a kid. And I may not have wanted where...
You wanted to shoot up a club, dog. Proud of you.
I may not have wanted to have a kid necessarily like right at the time where we have inflation going on and, you know...
Inflation's always happening, dog.
It is, but it's like it's hit everybody in a different way this time, I feel like. But also, like, it was at a time where Jess and I were both I got promoted right as he got, she gave birth to him. She's getting settled into her career. So it might have been early, like, not necessarily that it wasn't planned, but settling into the realization that my day circumvents around him. I enjoy that part. I enjoy, like, spending we had a nap today on the couch for maybe like an hour and a half. The best part of my day. 100%. And I still have a 2 pages left out of a 3 to 5 page essay to write when I get home in 45 minutes. And it's due in 3 hours and 45 minutes.
You should not be on this podcast.
Fuck it. Whatever.
You should. We're going to be responsible here.
I have been responsible. My grades have been pretty good. I got 2 A's in the last 2 classes. I have a A- in this one. And my paper tonight is like you go like recap all of the last couple chapters instead of doing a final, and then you just apply it to something. And so it's an application paper on the persuasion, and I chose the topic of staying in the military or not. And then I apply all the different things we've talked about in class and how it would apply towards the persuasion of me staying in or me leaving. So at the end of the day, talking shit about the Army is always super easy for me, even though I enjoy my service.
That's the case with any job. I talk shit about my job all the time. I'm like, oh my God, like people in the real world are also retarded. Like I didn't know that was a thing. I thought everybody on the outside was somewhat highly intelligible. I'd like show up to work sometimes and someone's like, oh yeah, I don't know this or that. Or they go, oh, I totally forgot this. Or you ask them and they're like, I wasn't tracking I was supposed to do that. And I'm like, you're a special guy, aren't you? You deserve a gold star. I've started carrying around gold stars and giving them to people at work.
Oh, Jesus.
That's really passive aggressive.
It is. Like, good job, champ. Oh, they're like, what?
I started to realize that even the Army's like dumb privates and shit, as much as they are dumb, some of them are just like they try to be like maliciously stupid, right? To like either get out of shit or to just fucking make your day hell because you are an authority figure.
How do you think a lot of them got there?
Yeah.
Well, so my thing is that a lot of our junior soldiers that are kind of like the dumb ones, or even the lieutenants, honestly, that are just like, how the fuck do you pick out a pair of socks in the morning? You are just an imbecile. Those people in the civilian world, there's still the 1% of people who are willing to like serve. So I still hold them in a higher regard than the entry-level positioners anywhere else in the world.
I did some math the other day. $14 an hour don't even cover a mortgage, dog. A mortgage and a car payment. Like, and that's minimum wage, I guess. Or people get motivated when they make more money, or their leadership is like way better. Like if Vic was my boss and Vic treated me nice, fuck yeah, I'll stick around. You know, he just tries to make life easier for me. But I think it comes. It's big if,
leadership.
I
Leadership
mean,
only takes you so far, though.
yeah, and a fat ass paycheck. Oh, yeah, that's even
Yeah, but
better.
so if you had really really good leadership and you had the best boss that you could
Mhm.
ever have, had all the best qualities that you could look for, but your paycheck was mediocre or average, would you take that above any situation? Not, I'm not saying having more money comes with having a shitty boss, but would you take that over having a fat ass paycheck with any situation when it comes to a boss?
Who's answering this first, me or?
Vic's answered
Okay,
it.
all right.
We got to keep you awake.
Um, I'm fully awake, man. I actually took a nice little nap before this. It was nice. I was zonked out on the sofa. I was like, wow. But
All right,
okay,
go ahead.
so this question here is honestly a little flawed.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with no. So and it's not your fault for that. I'm not saying it's a bad question. It's a
No
great
one's
question.
picking on you.
However,
I feel like it.
this goes to the frame of mind of where your head's at, right?
True.
It's like, would I take the job if I had mediocre pay, but I had a great manager and blah blah blah?
Do you guys forget that I am
That
asking you for your personal, like, right now? I'm not asking for the hypothetical, like,
no no
everybody
no.
else in America. I'm saying, so Vic, right now, with where you are at in life, right, financially, where your responsibilities are, where your priority list is, which one would you choose?
I'd say the answer is no, because my overall happiness and goals in my life at this point are not tied to work. So
Mm-hmm.
having mediocre pay with a great manager and great boss doesn't help me achieve or accomplish the things I want to achieve outside of that.
Mm,
And I'm at the point of my life where it's never looking at, do I want to be happy at work or do I want to achieve my goals?
fair.
So
Do you see your job as like the means to an end for fulfilling your personal goals?
I do feel like the work that I do does play a big role in that because yeah, they do. It does. At the end of the day, it's how I earn money.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But in the same respect, like I'm actually growing within my company. I'm learning more while
There's
I'm
upward
there.
mobility.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just you have to sometimes when you talk about like your full time profession, there's always more to learn. Um,
Yeah.
and if you feel like you know everything at
Sure.
that
Yeah.
company,
Yeah.
and you're
Time
like,
to
oh
go.
man, I know everything about this place, blah blah blah. Like I don't need to be told anything different. Then you're either one burnt out or two you need to get out of there. I
Yeah.
mean, both you need in all cases you need to get out of there. When you feel like no
Mm-hmm.
one can tell you shit, no one can change your ways, go.
You're not constantly trying to innovate. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the way I feel at my job. And I'm like, I have an interview for a federal job actually, where it's basically I'll be the chief strategist for electric vehicle lithium battery procurement. That makes sense. So
Okay.
I'd be the person going, hey, this is how the supply chain works. We're gonna make sure that it never falls to shit again. And they gave this program $2 billion to spend. Like,
Hmm.
here's two
Oh,
billion.
don't worry. We only
We could,
probably needed 1.5.
but I don't know shit about fucking lithium batteries, but the work that I would be doing, it would be way better than what I'm doing now.
Mm.
I can actually see like the end result of what I'm doing. And also like it's kind of like the heavens aligned in a way, or like, the world kind of sets itself up to kind of put you where you're supposed to be. I think that whole fate thing, because oh shoot, yeah, because basically the town where I grew up at, they have Ford built an electrical car plant there. It's wild how they kind of align, and then we're trying to do work with Ford to like get them to do like battery stuff and all kinds of legal like legislative jargon. But like, yeah, dude, is I was like, oh man, it's pretty cool. So I want that job more than this one because I see there's more value in it intrinsically, like throughout my life cycle. I'm kind of doing things to help people. So
Hmm.
I pulled
Hmm.
that headphone jack out.
Well,
But
Good
yeah,
for you, man.
I don't know. It pays a lot more, and I only need 9 more years of federal service, and I can retire. 43 years old, be done working forever. That sounds pretty fucking nice.
Well, so let me try to discuss um, the topic that I want to bring up. Which,
Oh
Yeah,
first of
shit!
talk
all,
to me. What you
Oh
can
got
we
going
talk
shit!
on?
about just what?
No, I just said, oh shit. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. No,
Go
let's hear
ahead.
it.
Is my shit fucking breaking up? God damn it!
Can you
No, we
hear
can
us?
hear you. We can hear
Oh,
you. You're still here.
can you
I
hear
can hear
me?
you. Yeah, you
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
talking.
I think I'm gonna.
I think
Steve's having technical difficulties. Yeah,
he's probably having connectivity issues because
he's
he's
having
probably like
connection
in and
issues.
out of like a dead zone.
Yeah, he's in the middle of farmer land, I
Yep,
guess.
there he goes. We
There he
lost him.
goes. Yep, he's gone. Yep, he'll pop back in there. But nah, man, like I don't know. Life is life. I just kind of sit back now and I work out when I want to, when I feel like it, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna be happy, and I've been a lot happier. But Steve, what did you want to talk about?
So I
We
wanted
can.
to talk about. Can we go through all of the shit show that was these semifinals?
Oh
And
shit, he's doing it again. He's gonna get onto
I
the train.
hang on. I want to talk. I want to talk about how Brooke Wells fucking failed. I called this shit the last time we were on a podcast. I just
Okay.
want to be. I want to be acknowledged for being correct by both of
Okay.
you. Who
We're gonna
fucking.
have a negative Sunday.
So
Let's
so
do this.
so okay, let's get this done quickly.
I don't
Congratulations,
think it's gonna be
Steve.
quick.
Please enjoy your Schadenfreude for seeing Brooke Wells miss the cut to the games. I'm sure she knows that you're rooting against her, and that's what did it for her. She couldn't do it because you were specifically looking at the TV and going, "You're not gonna make it." And she heard that, and she kept looking in the screen saying, "I can't believe you don't want me to make it, Steve. Well, I don't know if I can handle this pressure." And then, yeah,
It's like the butterfly effect. Like
yeah,
Steve takes a breath, hits a butterfly, butterfly flies all the way down to Orlando, takes a weird shit on a car, makes the driver stop looking, and then the driver hits one of the judges. The judge is looking, his eyes are crooked, and he's like, "No rep, I don't know, I no rep," and then she fails. That's how it worked.
I just,
Uh,
man, listen.
no.
Look, I know you have your things with this athlete, um, and she
Well,
didn't
so
make
it's
it.
not just her. I'm
Mm,
talking about like there's a bunch of athletes that I feel like
I'll give Brooke
underperformed.
I'll give Brooke Wells the benefit of the doubt, and this is the only time that I'll do it. I'll give the benefit of the doubt because she doesn't go all over Instagram as like, half naked. She doesn't do that. Like, have respect for that. You're not using your body to sell things. I just say that I'm not going to insert anybody's name, but like I find more respect for that. But then, you go on
Who
the
the
other side and it's like, oh, I'm going to go and,
What fucking Brooke Wells are
represent.
you talking about?
Here's
Yeah.
n- here's
No, no,
my
no, no.
here's my thing. I'll go off a little bit more. Like, I think
She's gonna
having
have to go on Instagram and sell her fucking body at this
no,
point.
no,
Jesus
she
Christ,
won't.
Steve.
No, no.
That OnlyFans is fucking coming if it's not
I
already out there.
I think that the way that she responded to missing the cut to the games and congratulating her sister,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think it showed a little bit more humility than I think Steve was expecting.
Yeah.
No, you two fucking think just because she was in a stadium
No.
packed with
No, what,
people
what
who had their eyes on her, that
Bro,
when
I'd be
she
pissed.
bound over to her, yeah, and she went over to her sister, her twin fucking sister, and was like, "You're gonna do great. You're gonna do all these things. You're amazing." Are you fucking kidding me?
But
She
that's
did
all
that
public
because
eye.
she was
In the background, that
exactly.
text
Not
message, she's like, fuck, she can say what
No,
she
no,
wants
no,
in
no, no.
private.
Let's not
I don't
BS
want to.
here. Let's put it this way. You have a family member, you have a brother or sister, and y'all both competing and you're doing something. You may not make it, and it hurts like hell that you don't make it, but to see your own family member still succeed, look, man, that's a normal response.
Hmm.
You're
I'm not
supposed to
saying. I'm not saying anything about her being mad or happy for her sister. I'm saying the reaction she gave was complete and total bullshit. It was for the fact that there were people around her who, had she not given that, right, it would have been the talk of the fucking town, which I'm surprised she didn't do it anyways
But
because of that.
But think of it this way. Look at LeBron. He lost the series, right? They got swept. Pull out the fucking broom. He got swept. He didn't go out there and go, man, Anthony Davis didn't do this, or,
He fucking
D'Angelo
should.
Russell didn't do that. But you cannot do that. You cannot. You should not. That's how you lose sponsors. I have a case in point now where me and Rashad had to send a termination letter today. I'm not going to tell you who it was, but we had to send a termination letter because of things that just kept happening. And then this
Shooter
person,
Magda.
nope, not
Guy,
going to tell
guy,
you.
hey,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you are bigger than you are. Like, you have to, even though you feel a certain way about something, it's not always the time to say it. Just because you got freedom of speech doesn't mean you should always talk.
So my thing is not that I just want to see this girl fail. It was the fact that I called out that there is a specific group of athletes who you can almost pinpoint that social media, their influencing is more important than their athleticism, call it that, right? When it comes time for competition.
mm-hmm.
And this time
Okay.
it clearly showed, A, and B, these fucking semifinals are so close to regionals. I don't understand why they're not just called regionals anymore, but
How about this theory, Steve? How about this theory? You remember when another sad athlete went on to the Buttery Bros and was like, "Yeah, I don't care about making the games. It's bigger than that." And every
fuck
time
it
you say
is.
something on the internet, people listen, people watch. You think Bosman wasn't watching it and he wasn't going, okay, we haven't tested all these things. I'm going to slap all these things together. And if you really want to be here, he probably had the notion in his head. He's like, if you really want to be here and you're willing to win, you're going to have to try harder now. And I appreciate that about the programming because it went to the first event was aerobic and anaerobic. Like, you had a heavy sled to pull, you had to run, you had to ski, and you had to echo bike. Like, good luck. You could be the strongest motherfucker on the planet and pull the sled as fast as you want to, but it's balanced. You got to run too. So if you're not a good runner, you're screwed. So
Well,
I think that people should withhold like their true feelings about stuff. Like, you should just kind of shut up.
no,
Not you,
no, you
but
should
them. Like, you should just shut the fuck up in color. You
no,
know.
no, they should honestly say what they feel and mean what the fuck they say.
But I think
Because
people have a problem
this
accepting consequences when that stuff
what
happens.
that sounds like a them fucking problem. Their issue is not my fucking situation.
Who
So
has an issue with this now?
well, I'm saying the one thing I really wanted to get into with you guys was, and this was the lead up to this topic. So like I said, that there are certain class of athletes who some of them go to the games and then they never end up going back because they realize how much hard work and dedication it takes.
Yeah, flash in the
And
pan.
then,
Go ahead.
right, but not even just that. Um, they don't realize the like how being a parent engulfs so much. Being these professional athletes takes so much time. But what I wanted to ask you guys about was, do you think, because especially now that I don't go to CrossFit gyms and I do everything on my own, I don't want to go pay somebody else to like teach me things, not just because I already know them,
Okay.
but because of what kind of goes on in gyms now. Do you guys think that CrossFit hit its peak and is on its way down now? In more ways than one, I ask that because of the way that athletes kind of behave, but also the way that I feel like the culture of CrossFit is almost burnt out or burning out.
Vic
I wanted to
first.
get your
Mine is a long answer.
I mean, y'all have. I mean, this is a fair question. I honestly think that CrossFit isn't burning out, but people are realizing that they can't depend on CrossFit itself to make a living
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't pay enough.
Plan B's.
So you need to have other ways to use CrossFit in order to gain the exposure that you want to get that financial, blanket, or security
Security.
blanket,
Yeah.
yeah, or safety net, and just in case it doesn't go well, because they've learned from the others who have sacrificed their body, their personal life, basically
Mm-hmm.
their everything, just to get to the games and one, not win it all, get injured, have to withdraw, and all that work, having to sacrifice all of that just go out the window,
Yeah.
right? So I think you're seeing athletes learn from previous experiences and figure out, well, hey, how do I best position myself to one, focus on competing, but also focus on maximizing my actual brand
And
so
earning
that just in
potential.
case competing doesn't work out the way that I want it to, I can still be a face for other things and get money that way.
Yeah.
I
But
Look
do
at
mean,
you?
Carrie Pierce. She's doing real
But
well.
do you?
she
But
stepped
do
away
you
from
think?
power abs too, actually recently.
Yeah, and she took on Gooder. She bought a stake in Gooder.
But she's pulled away because that was taking up too much of her time, right?
Mhm.
Um, and she announced that she's like, it was like it was affecting her, and you're starting to see more than anything how many athletes are finally coming out and stating like, hey, this is taking a toll on my life. Like this is
That's what a
actually like
profession does.
this
Well,
is yeah, well, no, and so
yeah,
there.
but this go now. Go ahead, Vic. Sorry, go ahead.
But like, this is they're actually finally understanding like, yeah, this isn't all just like fun and games. Like the CrossFit Games, from what I've heard at the very, very beginning, was like a barbecue, no
Hmm.
big deal, like haha, we're gonna shoot the shit, have a great time. And that's all well and good. But now you're at a stage where you're trying to make this into a professional sport while also trying to
Bingo.
maintain some sort of methodology as its own like way
Yeah.
or prescription to help people. But you're looking at like take a look at like, oh, what's another sport that seems to be dying or people are burnt out? Boxing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Look at
Okay,
boxing.
That's
so
happening in boxing right now. A bunch of fighters
let
have pulled out of like these. What was the last one, Vic? What was the last one? Supposed to happen in Madison Square Garden like 2 months ago.
I don't know who
yeah, but
pulled
Let me.
out, but I know I got. I mean, I've been. I mean,
Let me
fighting
go
has
to.
been great. Boxing's been great lately, but these athletes are learning that they need to monetize like
in
their
my
brand.
opinion, though, the boxing situation, they're pulling out and they're quote unquote burnt out because right they want more money. The fights also include people who are also
He keeps cutting off. Anyways, I'm gonna follow up that statement. You had a good point, Vic. Everything you hit, like you didn't elaborate through every single thing like you probably wanted to, which it's like respect for time, I guess. I don't know if you were gonna elaborate some more, but CrossFit is at a point right now that it's either shit or get off the pot time. And the reason that I say that is from a project management standpoint. I know how businesses are run. I know how they're built. I know how they're supposed to work and what happens to the life cycle and development of things, especially as you try to basically the supply here is athletes. Supply chain or the supply chain is CrossFit. The athletes are the supply, and you're trying to get as many of those people in and new faces in as you can to produce more stuff. That's just how it works. So CrossFit's at a really fundamental time where it needs to professionalize itself. If it doesn't professionalize itself on the end of the CrossFit games, then it's going to be screwed. They professionalized CrossFit as a methodology. They have all these courses you can take. They have the education stand. They got, Dave at the helm of the affiliate, program and stuff.
Hmm.
And well,
Hmm.
not program, but like the affiliate side, which is very smart. He's a
Affiliate
really
relations, yeah.
yeah, he's a I like to put it this way. You have a commander that you see most of the time. Everybody likes that person, that captain, because they're like, oh, he comes down, he actually sees and sees what we're doing and asks us what's going on. And you get that bottom up feedback. What's happening on the professional side is you still have these volunteer judges. That's one of the first things. If you're going to have these people come out here on their own dime, they're going to try to have a vacation. They're going to try to enjoy themselves,
Hmm.
and they don't have any real incentive to perform perfectly. Like they don't have that incentive, and I'm sorry. And when you go to those judges courses, they have briefings, and all you got is briefings. You don't have any type of professional certification that you get from that except for your level one. What's up, Jess? Except for your level one or level two or what have you. And even some of those people kind of don't care. So how do you make them have skin in the game? How do you do that? That's the question. And
so
Steve's
more
muted.
so more my thing was I think that a lot of athletes have gotten to the point where they I don't want to like talk shit about them in the sense that they're like unprofessional, But
Mhm.
I feel like that I want to say 2014 to like 2018 was the highlight of the sport, and it hit its pinnacle. I think that people operated in a way that was they were going to transcend what the sport was going to become, and that became dangerous once you started having the likes of like Matt and Rich and some of these other guys that were winning multiples. But people's strengths and all of their abilities went through the roof. You went like uh, Vic said, the early part of CrossFit was like kind of semi-strong. Like Ken, if he went to the 2007 games right now, as he is currently, he would win hands down. Nobody would even touch him, right?
Mhm.
But
Until they made him
within
run up a
4 or
hill.
5 years, yeah, that too.
It's like,
But like
oh,
4 or 5 years later, there were people clean and jerking and doing all these things that was, um, I don't know, hundreds, almost 200 pound, like heavier than what they were doing just 4 years prior. So I feel like the sport excelled so fast and has now been almost like a flash in the pan over the last, like it went its
I
first 10 years. And then since then, it has now outgrown itself.
It'll
I
it'll be fine. It's the same thing that any other professional sport has gone through. If you take a look at
But I
not
disagree because the athletes in any other sport have never gone to social media or something like that as a secondary form
what about
of
Buddy,
how do I
social
get my
media
bag.
social media
yeah,
didn't exist at the beginning of a
that's
lot of these
yeah,
professional sports. So, their version of going to social media
yeah,
was getting favors from the local butcher, from the local laundromat that gave their stuff for free. Like
yeah,
the NFL back in, or the AFL, if you will, back in the day, those people were full-time workers still playing football on the side as a passion.
yeah.
Yes, but
You
what I'm
had
saying is
guys.
now you have athletes now who it would behoove them to not even look at how much can this sport do for me,
But
is how
that's the
much can I
thing.
do
When the
outside of the
last
sport
time they're
first.
professional, it's like CrossFit has a players union basically. They have a professional association of athletes, IPFA, I think it's called, or something like
The
that.
PFA.
Yeah, PFA, and Brent Fikowski's at the head of it, and then you got Pat Veldner. And the last time they met was fucking a year ago, man. Like
That's terrible.
but the thing is, you have the two people that are highest earners at the top. They're not really concerned with the problems at the bottom, and also there's a lack of organization. And it goes back to the whole term professionalize.
But
CrossFit's at
that's
the
what
point
I
now.
wouldn't go. No, no, I wouldn't say that about Brent and them. He actually did talk about what they've been working on, and how they try to schedule meetings for what the PFA should be doing for the entire sport of CrossFit. So they are
Where
busy working, but it is slow moving.
Yeah, where's the booklet? Like that's what I'm saying. Like even inside of that organization, you got to professionalize that organization. It can't be a mom and pop ran thing with someone with no like
Well,
professional certification to know how to do those things or build an organization. The thing that
so
Dave knew how to do was build an organization.
where does Brent go in order to get that?
Where does
Right?
he go?
Who else is going to help and give up their time and resources to help these athletes do that? I mean, because
CrossFit.
No one.
outside of,
CrossFit. They
yeah,
have to do that. They have to validate the existence of this, functional fitness athletes professional union. Like CrossFit has to validate that shit. They have to acknowledge that they exist. If CrossFit makes a post and does a post that does a collaboration with their professional union, dude, that shit will blow up. People will be like, "Oh my god, that exists," and then awareness kind of makes them valid, and they'll get
uh,
more help. They'll get more outside. Like a pro bono lawyer would take them a long ways. I don't know if they have one, but they need a pro bono lawyer to help them with legalese, drafting documents, or at least a paralegal to help them do that
mm,
because they deserve that. These CrossFit athletes, their season, they only get like a month off and maybe 2 months off. And Matt did it that way. Matt took 2 months off. He would take 2 months off, 2 weeks before the open. He would get on a rower, beat the shit out of himself, and then hop on and, go into the open and be like, I have enough skills. I can qualify for regionals or whatever. But there needs to be a set schedule. CrossFit needs to do that. There needs to be some form of compensation for the athletes, at least like the top 150. Like whatever the top 150 are, they need at least 10K in just compensation. That would take it a long ways. That's a good start. A good step, because they're negotiating all these deals with Monster or No Bull or what have you. Cool. Those are sponsors for the games. All right, take care of our people that are wearing your shit, that are making other people buy your shit. What's the functional loss gain for you paying each athlete $10,000 and, putting that against your revenue, what you get actually from sales? It's probably minuscule. 150 by 10,000 is 1.5 million, if I'm not mistaken.
But now, how much money do you really think that CrossFit comes in, like overhead? Like they're actually keeping every year. I don't think that they're making that much money. I think that they're breaking even with
They
enough
just laid off 75 people. So right now,
Exactly.
whomever is doing whoever the CFO is, because they had a CFO change out a year ago, that dude or lady, equal opportunity to fuck up, is fucking up. That's what I think.
That position has been a rotating door, in my opinion.
All of their senior leadership has been a rotating door.
That's a problem.
But it's not. I don't think it's a cultural problem. I don't think that it has anything to do with people just being bad at their job. I think it's the fact that you don't have this business. Like you don't have a business plan that effectually puts the sport as a sport.
Do you want a case
study?
In
addition to the methodology.
What else happens every 2 years? What else happens every 2 years in your life right now, Steve?
Yes, I understand that you have elections and stuff.
Nope. What else? You have a commander change out, UPCS somewhere else every couple of years. You have a rotating door, and what do you have every time that happens? You have to have a turnover of like policy and all that shit. And the commander gets up to change command. He's like, all policies remain in effect, and he walks away. He does it for a reason, because he's like, I need to catch up on all these policies before I fucking leave out. And whatever one thing I can change, I'm going to hold on to that. And like if you do whatever additional duty it is, and then that additional duty NCO leaves, and then you take that spot, it's always a shit show, isn't it? Because it's so fast. There's no left seat, right seat.
No, that's not always how it is. But there's a layout, there's a blueprint for that, and how it's supposed to go, and how then you wouldn't have fuck ups. This company has tried to propagate this sport, and you're starting to see the after effects of you having athletes who want to put themselves before the sport because the sport is hard on the body and they're not getting compensated for it. But
you know what that sounds like? Lack of professionalization.
Yes, that I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm saying if this company had a layout, they had a business plan for how you incorporate a competition yearly into the business model, it would be fine. But you don't see the like New York Marathon or the Boston Marathon isn't paying out to every person that runs the marathon, but they sure as shit take pictures and post pictures of everybody running. So why do any of these athletes think that now, like, oh, hey, I haven't been able to get like secured financing for this? There never was secured financing. But the other part is Matt got out of it because it took a toll on his body. All of these people keep trying to go back to the games year after year, trying to grab at the next like quarter inch.
Because they got no plan B, dog. Most of them, if they do have it, if they just don't know what real life is. And in CrossFit, it's messing up even more because you're catching them young. It's like it's like people that are, I hate to say this, but like people that groom children. Like you catch them young, you can hold on to them for forever. Like you just can. If you catch on to a CrossFit athlete at 13, 14 years old, odds are you hold on to them until they break. Because they're going to be like, I want to win, I want to win, I want to win. And if you got a longevity of like, from youngest age group is 14 all the way up to the end of the elite is 30 years. That's 16 years. That's 16 years you can hold on to that money-making motherfucker.
Yeah, but they're not even making that. How much? What is the average they make on any athlete?
How much do you think they made on Mal O'Brien? Think about that.
I don't think in the grand scheme of things it was that much money.
Mal's been competing since she was 14, right? Every time she puts on a pair of shoes that say Noble or Reebok or whatever it is, somebody's like, oh my God, I want to be like Mal. I got to wear her shoes. You know that's some shit. You can't sit here and tell me, you go, oh, Rich Froning's wearing this thing. I should try it out because Rich Froning's wearing it. It's pretty cool. Like, I've had that type of thought process where I'm like, oh, I need to get a pair of LeBrons. I'll be just like LeBron.
But that's not CrossFit's problem. That's not their issue. They don't make money off of that. That's
They
Reebok,
do.
Noble,
If
and those guys.
Mao wears a pair of if Mao were to switch, drop her Noble contract, put on a pair of fucking Reeboks, and go to the games and take second place, all of those commercials or all those little pictures that end up on her Instagram, if 10,000 people, let's say 10,000 people, let's do some quick math real quick. 10,000 people, right? 10,000 people like that picture. Let's say 50% of them buy a pair of shoes. That's 5,000 people. A pair of Reeboks run you about, what, $120?
130.
Mostly on sale for 60. I see them because no
They
one wants
just
them.
made $600,000 off of that one fucking post.
And
If
when they
half
go
the
to the
people buy it,
negotiating table,
and you know,
do they offer CrossFit more or less money?
but that's the thing. No one, because CrossFit isn't a publicly traded company, no one can see what their financials look like. That's
But
what
again,
happens.
But if I was Reebok and I made more money off of an athlete that signed with me,
Mm-hmm.
and they have no, like, they're not signed with CrossFit,
Uh-huh.
and Reebok's no longer the name sponsor,
Yep.
I'm gonna give CrossFit less fucking money because I just made
That's
more
what
money.
happened, Steve. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. You're only proving my point more. That CrossFit doesn't get to make any of this money. They have no blueprint for any of this.
But it goes full circle to the lack of professionalism. The people making those deals and signing those deals were doing it at a point in time where they're like, oh, this is kind of a mom pop thing. We're still growing, da-da-da. They got a shitty deal. They try to go back, renegotiate it, and it didn't work out. And Reebok is like, all right, deuces. That's what I assume happened. I've been having
Well, no, that's not exactly what happened. I don't want to get into I don't want to get into this any further, but Reebok was bought out by Athletic Brands because
Well,
Reebok
yes.
was failing as a shoe company. So the reason why Reebok didn't get to renegotiate or do anything or in the position to give CrossFit more money was because Reebok was being bought by another company and they weren't doing as well as they wanted to with the sales. So Athletic Brands has now basically has taken up the same strategy, and they're moving shoes as well as they can, and they're continuing on with Reebok's, goals and purposes per se, but they're backing it now. So they're the ones holding the purse strings. So until CrossFit can make a deal with Athletic Brands,
Yeah, they got
that's
bought out by
going
a
to
bigger
make
company.
that's going to make money for more than just one revenue stream. You're not going to get a deal with them.
Yeah.
Because Reebok's money is held up by another person.
Venture capital money, basically, is what they took.
Yeah.
They took the VC money from another place.
Which the minority owner is Shaq. One of the owners is Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, like
Well,
GoRuck doesn't have any
Shaq-
venture capital ownership, so they can pretty much do what the fuck they want. They have no debt. They got on the end of the military deal, and they'd have no debt. That's pretty cool.
Those military deals will always get you out of everything.
No, they just got on the military side of things. Like they just rode the wave of Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, da-da-da. But yeah, I think that they need to not Reebok, but CrossFit at some point needs to pay the athletes a little something. Like if you're top 150, even, $2,000. Here's $2,000 for qualifying. You qualified. All right, move on. I mean, just for the open division where you got male and females, there's 300 people, $2,000. What was that?
What CrossFit should do is secure actual business relations where they make enough of an overhead that they can do that first. Then once they do that, they need to actually form an organization, which I get that you said that there's like an athlete, like a players association going on. Well, just like you said, that needs to like formalize as a business. Both of those things need to formalize as actual organizations.
But you know what? I was thinking a while ago, like, why they would never do that is because if all 150 of those top athletes went on strike, guess what's right below those 150? There's like millions of other people that would love to go out there and just compete.
And that's why I think that this sport had like a flash in the pan moment. And now, if all of these athletes that are at the top that are wanting to go out and make their brand and shit, I think CrossFit at one point is just going to tell them to leave, or I think they all should leave and let it reset itself. And you'll find just as much talent down at the bottom that will rise to the top as the ones that have left.
I mean,
But that's
I
what.
wouldn't venture as far to say that because the people we got now are pretty fit motherfuckers. But
Yeah,
I
but
would
think
say
about.
that the smaller competitions are going to start to. There's going to be a lot more smaller competitions because these people in their off season are going to be going to like cash in money, and the payouts are going to be a little higher. That's what I
Oh,
think.
cool. So they're a bunch of freelancers. But
Yeah,
by my point, the point I just made, I would tell you to look at Sydney Wells compared to her sister. As soon as Brooke failed, saw somebody who nobody thought had a realistic top 10 shot at going to the game. Maybe she could have made the
Oh,
9 or
she
10
had a
spot.
shot. Oh, she had a shot. Oh, she
But
when.
there were so many other people in that field, and if Mal O'Brien was in the field, she would have missed out as well. So
But that's not
it's not
reality,
even a
though.
question.
Like, there's
No,
no
but it
other
should have been.
reality to even pit that against. But it's again, we only can make assumptions based on things that have realistically happened, not what
So,
we, say what would have happened if this had have happened. If this other thing had have been true.
well, what had happened was
But no, it's I don't know. It's a complicated answer to a really complicated problem, and people get paid to
yeah,
solve it. And I don't want to sit here and think about it and solve it myself. Fuck them. They can
yeah,
figure it out on
I
their
mean, you
own.
can solve it.
Well, it's not really not so much really fuck them or try to figure it out. So that we don't have the resources or enough knowledge within the camp to really understand all the variables at play. All
Yeah,
we're doing here is speculating as to
yeah,
what can be the solution, what should be the solution. But in reality, we don't have enough information at what's going on at CrossFit to
yeah,
actually to be like, oh well, this is actually a better here's a solution.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, if they were
Uh
publicly traded, then you could find a solution real quick. But they're not. They don't outlay their
no.
financials. They don't go, "Hey, here, this is what we made." They don't get to see that.
Well, it's not even so much a financial issue. It's more or less a vision issue where you have people coming in and out saying they have a vision for CrossFit, and everyone's vision for CrossFit sounds the same but executed completely differently. That's
Yeah,
all it is. But
yeah,
we just don't know enough to
yeah,
to say, oh yeah, here's the distinct or like the here's the definitive answer for X, Y, or Z. We don't have it.
yeah. We
Yeah.
ain't
All
got
right,
that.
gentlemen. So
Yeah,
I just got home,
yeah. You
just
go.
got the wife back. I'm going to talk to you
I'm,
guys another time.
all right, I'm gonna
All right.
wrap this up with
Uh,
Vic.
Sounds
Since
good.
Vic's sitting here,
Deuces, boys.
See you, man.
I'm gonna ruin Steve. I'm gonna just berate him back and forth for like an hour, like tomorrow.
Why?
But it's back and forth. I just want him to be on the show. Fuck, man. So many things for one person to do. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I want to do this, but man, it'd be nice to have another person on there too, just to like take the pressure off of, oh, I need to talk and do this. Like, I'm a social person, but I'm not that social. I'm like, I'll think in the corner and give you a good idea every now and then, like insert something.
So did you end up catching these semifinals this weekend?
Yeah, I watched them. I watched them all. The one wrapped up right before about an hour
Yeah.
before we
Yeah, yeah.
started, and I was watching it, and everyone's like, "Oh, is Justin Medeiros not fit?" I'm like, "No, that was gamed perfectly. That's smart.
Mhm.
You don't need to win the fucking semifinal. You need to get to the games, bro. Now you got a 2 month buffer of like peaking because you know what everybody's strengths and weaknesses are. Right? And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. They're not gonna get this much better in 2 months, so I'm safe. I don't have to do all this or all of that.
You know that it's a real head game too. When people are like, "Oh, well, I beat Justin in this workout, so I should be good there." Or,
Yep.
"Oh, he beat me in that one. Okay, so that's his only thing. Okay, he's not gonna." And you don't even know if he was actually fully trying,
Was it?
if he was actually like going all out. And you see some of these people going out there and they're trying to go as hard as possible, and you're just like,
And they're dying.
and then it's like, this is the best performance I could ever give. I'm like,
Ooh.
so when you say that, excuse me, when you say
You're
that,
good, dude.
good luck in Madison,
Yeah.
because that's the thing is that a lot of, and you heard this with last week's with the East, where they give athletes a chance to really chat about like how they did,
Yeah.
and the number one answer was, oh, I'm not really peaking for
I'm not peaking
semifinals, I'm
yet.
peaking for the games, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Listen,
Look, bro, you peaked.
is when
You
some of
peaked.
y'all when some of y'all get in there and you're going as hard as possible, son, you peaked for
You
this
peaked.
competition.
You did.
You
If
peaked.
you're giving any more than 75% of your effort to any event, You have peaked, my friend. You
You
have
peaked. You peaked for, and it's okay
peaked.
because you needed. If you didn't do that,
You
you
wouldn't
weren't
know.
making it to the games.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but I hear that answer a lot, and it just makes it just it's the same thing that Matt would say. He's like, "Oh, my goal is to win the games, not to win
Yeah.
regional, not to do this. I'm doing the minimum that I need to in
Hmm.
order to get there, so that I can put all my energy and focus into the games."
Exactly.
And that's and now when he once he said that, now it's been a couple years since he's actually said that. Now
Yeah.
everyone's saying it. Oh well,
Yeah.
I'm not peaking for semifinals. My goal is to win the games. Like,
No.
bro, you didn't heard Matt say that on how many podcasts?
Yep.
So now you internalize it, and now you're him, and now you're
He's
this is
him.
your. It is like you're not like there's so few athletes that can really categor like, be in that same category as Matt or have the same mentality as Matt. And it just yeah.
Yeah, it just
I
doesn't. I looked at that. I looked at the last event especially. I was like, Justin's in seventh place. He's got to get top 9 to get there, right? I watched the screen. He got on the bike. He didn't push very hard. He looked at the 3 people he needs to stay in front of, and he was like, I'm going to be just in front of them or just beside them. He's like, they're going to crash. He's like looking like, oh, they're going to crash and burn like round 3. Sure as shit
Mhm.
that happened. And you're like, oh my God. And he had one, I think it was like, what was it? It was the event 6, and
Oh, yeah.
he got interviewed, and he was like, "Well, yeah, the scoreboard, the leaderboard doesn't reflect my fitness. I'm not worried about it." He's like, "The last event, I'm gonna have to like push a little harder." Basically, is what he said,
But
lack
he
of better
won he
terms.
won event 6 and he set the record for it
Yeah,
too, which is hilarious.
because that's when he actually tried. You can see the body language. If you look at event 6 and look at all the ones before that, there's a big difference. He was like, oh, "Okay, I'm digging a little bit of a hole. I need to try a little harder now. Oh, can we try a little harder?"
Also, as shitty as much criticism I thought I was gonna give the semifinals programming when it first came out, honestly,
Pretty good.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
impressed with the
yeah,
with how and okay, so workouts alone, just having the workouts there and you read them whatnot, you're just like, ah,
uh,
okay, whatever.
then you see
But
him do them. You're like,
then you
"Oof."
in the course through the
Yeah,
course of a weekend, you're like,
yeah.
damn, you started off with a sled pull. Okay, so they thought they're their freshest, but you beat them down right off the bat.
Yep, you just
Okay,
fucked them
cool.
up.
That's event one. Hit
Can't
them in the face. Welcome to the league. Like this is
welcome,
this is
bitch.
this is your initiation workout essentially.
Mhm.
Like wake up.
It's
And
like that
then
first day of Ranger school. They just like beat you to shit when you're really, really tired, and then the next day you take your PT test and you're like, "Oh fuck,
mhm.
fuck."
And then it was just really well done. I mean, having to hit event 6 after hitting everything you hit.
That's
And the
rough.
it's ski, bike, run, sled pulls. Then event
Yep.
2 is the
Fuck, what was it? Uh, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? Why
event 2
let me
was
look
the
at it.
uh the ring muscle up,
Yeah, ring muscle
the
up burpees.
complex, the
It's like,
complex, then pistols.
yeah.
So now not only are you fatigued from having to do those sled pulls, then you
Then
have to
you got
get
a
up
little drop of skill.
with a go ruck bag, make that like really fatigue the shit out of your shoulders, and also focus on your balance because your foot can't touch the ground. And then you got to push the pedal to the metal
On
on
the
the
burpees.
burpees, right? And then you have event 3. Event 3 was the Linda. So now you're doing Linda with the dumbbell bench press, the squat cleans, the deadlift.
Full
Like
body.
you're just the assault on your body doesn't stop. And then you get a reprieve. Oh, we're just going to run 800 meters
And
and you're going
snatch.
to get to snatch your max weight if you can.
If you can after all of this.
And then after that, we're going to give you a little bit of rest. You're going to hit these lighter snatches and then sprint 800 as hard as possible.
Yep. Yep.
Buddy,
4 and 5.
that is,
That's rough.
that is, and it's a trap too. It's an absolute trap to be baited into maybe going a little bit too heavy and possibly missing the rep.
Yeah.
So then you have a lower score to not hitting high enough and then getting middle of the pack.
Yeah.
And then there's that. Then going into, okay, Now I gotta hit these snatches. How fast do I cycle these snatches? And then how fast do I
No,
start running?
it's not even how fast. It's I have to do this as fast as I possibly can. I have to do this as fast as humanly possible. Everyone who did not touch and go was bottom like 10%.
Yeah, because those extra seconds you need on the run.
Yeah. You
But
need
it's
every
just,
extra second.
and it's just you're like it's everything is pain cave.
So
Everything is pain cave. At the end of that, so the sled pull, pain cave, because you have to pull as hard as possible. You got to go pain cave. Event 2, pain cave, because you have to push those burpee box jump overs,
Yep.
and every second counts. So
Yep.
you cannot delay. Event
Then
3,
3 is Linda.
more pain cave.
Yep. You better pace, but you can't pace too much.
Or you'll be last, or you won't make it. Event 4, not really pain cave. It's setting you up for what is going to be
Yeah.
the hellish sprint in event 5. And
You're
then
like,
event
"Oh, man, I ran my first 800 in 2:52. This is great." And then you hit your 1 rep max snatch. You're like, "Oh, I got a 5-pound PR. Good for me." And then they're like, "All right, turn around, do it the opposite way."
yeah.
With 185 pounds for the men, 125 for the women. I think they should have made the women 135. That was a
And
misloading,
then
I think.
event 6. No, well, we already did heavy snatches. They already cycled it. It's not a big deal. And
Yeah.
they did heavy in quarterfinals with the clean and jerk.
That's true. That is true. That is
So
true.
it's like we can't just keep going heavy, heavy, heavy. You got to do something that's gonna bait them to be like, hey, should I go singles or should I go touch and go? And you have to go touch and go, like you said, because you're gonna miss it.
Yep. And then
Um,
that.
but then you go to event 6 with the handstand pirouettes, the overhead squats, just at the seated legless rope climbs.
Whatever shoulders you had are gone.
Yeah, and then to go into the finale, toes to bar, echo bike, and sandbag carry. Like whatever muscles you have left, you have to muster them and hold that sandbag, push the pedal on the bike, stay unbroken as long as you can
Justin
on the
did that
toes
shit
to
in 8
bar.
minutes.
What's that?
He did that shit in 8 minutes and like 50 seconds.
Oh yeah, 8:55.6
That's
or something.
crazy.
Yeah.
He did in half the time it was prescribed. And that was the only one. I think that was the only workout, and it was perfectly strategized that he actually tried. He was like, "All right, cool. This is not a regular. I'm just training myself. I need to actually push a little bit."
Well, you know where he gained most of his time was all transitions and
And that, yep,
not wasting effort,
yep.
right?
He went to the
So
handstand push-up, just banged them all out, and I was like, "Jesus Christ!"
like a lot of the errors I was seeing, like if the overhead squats, if you don't feel comfortable with 185 and going right into the
It's a
first
squat
overhead
snatch,
squat,
clean and jerk it.
then just clean and jerk. Exactly.
That dude wasted 25 seconds. Who was it at the end? What was his name?
I
I can't remember
saw
his name.
I saw so many. I watched all of these heats from the Torian. I even watched some Copa Sur. And I was watching people attempting because of the ego in them was saying, I need to snatch this.
No, you don't. No,
Nope.
you need to get over your head. How do you get over your head?
Just clean and jerk it, fix your grip, you'll be
Yep,
fine. Get
yep,
down and start squatting.
yep.
Um, and people lose time in that. And then people lose time on the pirouettes because they think they have to do it unbroken and they don't break it up properly. They
No.
gas the row too much. Um,
Yeah, that
they
first
try
500, they're like, "Oh, 130 or whatever, 120."
Yeah,
You're
let
like,
me let me
"Jesus
push
Christ."
super hard at the very end. I'm like, no, if you're gonna push hard, get on that rower, give yourself like 20 super hard pulls,
Yep.
whatever you need to do, and then moderate and get into a pace.
Yeah.
And then by the time that you're done, you're smooth
You're
sailing,
halfway done.
and your arms are okay, so that as soon as you get off that rower, you can go upside down.
Yep.
Because if
Yep.
you're holding a 500-meter pace and you're like, oh God, I don't know if I can do this, and you're like, as soon as once you try to go upside down, you're gonna find yourself in a world of hurt.
Dude, that was watching them do that, I was like, I get the compounding effect of that. I was like, that was really well put together.
And honestly,
That
any
yeah,
of those athletes who completed that workout or
good.
got close to complete, amazing.
Yeah. Like, good for you, buddy. Like, you are a motherfucker. That's what every
Those
time I was like, "You're a
workouts are
motherfucker."
extremely tough.
Yeah. And then the
And
team ones weren't any better. The team ones were hard as fuck. I was like, Jesus Christ. I was talking to Shay today and she was like, Yeah. Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, man, that stuff looked hard." I was like, "That looked like the hardest thing I've ever seen teams do in my life." And I was like, "The games are gonna be even harder." That's the crazy part. The game's gonna be even harder. But yeah, let me unshare this and let you get off of here because it's 9 o'clock where you're at. I need to make dinner. I need to eat.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad you came on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, it's been good. I would have done it yesterday, but I had to watch the Celtics pull off an amazing
That was crazy.
game. And
Game 7.
now they got game 7, baby. Now we got to watch. Now they got to want it and
That's
they got to
tomorrow, right? They're
execute
playing. No, they're
tomorrow.
playing tomorrow or Tuesday.
Tomorrow.
On Memorial Day. Damn, they better win.
And Boston.
Oh, they're gonna win. That's. I think they're gonna win.
I don't want to say anything like that's guaranteed because nothing's guaranteed. They have to work hard. They have to want it. It's not up to us. It's them.
I mean,
So,
they had the least amount of turnovers. Last night, they only had 9 turnovers. The other games, they were averaging like 11, 12.
mhm.
That makes a huge difference. That's insane. That's a whole nother conversation though. But yeah, I'm gonna let you go, dude. Thank you for coming on. It's been great. I'm gonna end this real quick.
All right, man. All right, take it off the live and then we can